Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Trang Tries It, where I explore a metaphysical or spiritual reading. So if you see it and like it and want to try it, you can go ahead and click below on the link to support a small business. Before we start, don't forget to click on that like and subscribe button down there to be notified on when the next episode airs. So in today's episode, I am getting a Vedic astrology reading. So it is a completely different system, different chart, different everything compared to the Western astrology that we know today. So like my rising sign, my sun sign, moon sign, all that kind of stuff, they're all different in the other thing. Well, you'll see actually. So in the beginning, the astrologer will say and give a little information and lowdown on the difference between it. And I found the astrologer sun goddess Ashley at a psychic fair I was going to, and in this clip you'll see it's kind of cut in it's like 3 different clips actually. So at the fair you're able to sample these different readers and get 10-minute sessions. So you'll see that I got kind of like a 10-minute sessions with her, and then I was like, oh my goodness, I'm gonna get another 10-minute session because I really want to know more. And then afterwards I booked a 30-minute follow-up session with her on another date afterwards to kind of like know more about my chart. So as you can see right here below, there is a photo of my Vedic astrology chart, and during the reading she does point to it a lot and refer to it and kind of shows you what's going on. And well, unless you have been kind of studying astrology, to be honest, I was looking at the chart and I was like, yeah, I'm kind of still confused, but I'm just going to listen to what she has to say. After my experience with her, I told all my friends about it, and I kind of like pretty much pushed them to get a reading or like dragged them with me to get a reading. And I've also sat in on some of their readings. And also I know that sometimes readings might sound a bit, how do I say this? I think when people might be skeptical sometimes, or when they might say like, oh, well, a psychic can see me, and I think they're just like a mentalist. They're just trying to read off the body language that I'm giving. Well, in this astrology reading, what they do is they actually just look at your chart and they interpret where the signs are in your chart, and they just explain looking at the chart. They literally can probably not look at you and explain who you are by looking at this photo that you see right here. After my reading, she also sent the photo of my chart, and in her system that she pulls up and she turns all the numbers, you also get the North Indian style chart as well as the South Indian style chart. And you'll kind of see throughout the reading that she kind of refers to this as well. Okay, without further ado, let's begin.
Do you know the difference between Vedic astrology and Western astrology?
No.
Okay. So Western astrology uses the tropical coordinates. Vedic astrology uses sidereal coordinates. It is a different measurement system. So if you're familiar with your chart, it will change. The measurements will change. So what I'm looking at, based upon your birth date, January 19th, 1989, 8:22 a.m., Arlington Hospital. Okay. So this is the ascendant. So it's a Capricorn Ascendant. Sun is also in Capricorn. By the way, so is Mercury. And your moon is in Gemini. This might look a little bit different from your Western tropical chart. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I think I was more familiar with the Western.
Okay, yes. Okay. But this is I don't have time to go into why there's a different calculation, but this is, we're looking at the constellations and not the seasons.
Yeah.
So this is a more accurate mathematical measurement of the sky. I'll just leave it at that.
Yep. Cool.
So you're a Capricorn person, not based upon your sun, but based upon your ascendant, because the ascendant is the body. It's the physical nature. It's your temperament. It's the way that you behave. It's the way you function in the world. It's you as a physical being having an earthly experience. This is the horizon line. This is where sky meets the earth. This talks about you in your body. Now, we are tripart beings. We're body, mind, and soul, right? The body is the ascendant. The mind is the moon, and the soul is the sun. Your soul and your body are perfectly aligned, okay? The sun has strength in the first house. It's called, I think it's a karaka of the house. Karaka means indicator in Sanskrit. So this means a physical vitality, healthy person. Okay, you're a healthy person. And I also see the moon is in the 6th house of health and healing. Okay, so there can be fluctuations when it comes to getting little colds here and there, but ultimately you are a healthy person. You have a strong vitality. You have a strong sense of self as well. With Capricorn, it's a cardinal sign. So it tends to take initiative, and there is a sense of social responsibility. Personal responsibility 100%, because it's the personal first house. It's yourself, being responsible for yourself, but also being very financially responsible, and just in general feeling like needing to be a leader, set an example for the people around you and your family especially, right? So you're like the CEO of your family. I do feel like you can be a role model for a lot of people in this world through your behavior, through your actions, through your speech as well. Now, what you talk about and what you think about oftentimes are about establishing a foundation, establishing something that's permanent for you, okay? The moon in Gemini gives you a creativity and flexibility of ideas and speech and communications. So I actually feel like you could network your way to the top. It's like you can really plan. I see you as being a very talented person, a very creative mindset, because Mercury is dexterity and adaptability, and it shows that's the way you think. You're constantly thinking about like buy, trade, like how to make and buy, sell, whatever that is. You're not just business oriented though. I do feel like as far as like a personal level and like your relationships, I do feel like you like one-on-one relationships, something that's very intimate and very close, because Cancer is the descendant, and it shows it's a watery sign of like intimacy, mothering, nurturing. You don't find that with everybody. So it's not like you bond with big groups of people. You're like one-on-one person is really what I feel like, quality time. And it looks like you have work friends. So it's like your best friends, with people that you can work with, work as a team with, where you can build something. You're really into teamwork. I see that especially with Libra being in the 10th house. Libra is commerce, but it's also about partnerships and fairness. You're a very fair-minded person when it comes to knowing the value of something. Not even just the value, like monetary value, but the value of where am I placing my time and my energy to get the most positive results in my profession, but not just in my profession, but in my legacy, what I'm creating for the world. It's like what you really want is like, you're like, I want peace on earth, basically. That's your legacy, where things can be balanced and fair and easy. And I feel like there's a sense of they're saying like a sense of ease to make people's lives easier. That's how you're going to find your purpose. Efficiency, I think, is the word they're saying. Yes, making it easier. Thank you. There can be extremes in how you earn money, especially since the nodes are in your second house and the 8th house of other people's income. Earned income is the second house, and you have Rahu there, which creates sort of like a big wave, tidal wave sort of energy. So you can make your money in chunks, big waves of money coming in. Do you find that, but the thing is that you really enjoy structure. So that's funny. You're like, I like this familiarity structure. I like to know where my next paycheck is coming from. But do you notice that you get waves of income coming in? It shows like inconsistencies in the money. I don't necessarily have to dig into your finances. I'm just saying there can be extremes in how you make money. You know, this is over a course of a lifetime.
I think that might be in the future.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
All right, cool.
With side business.
No worries. Yeah. Saturn is about structure and discipline. Mm-hmm. And it shows like a big wave of money coming in for you. So it can actually be, but it's on your own making. So just know that. It's not going to be through like shared income. What do they call that? Investments. I mean, it can be through investments, but it shows like more your income, labor, your hand. Mm-hmm. You're not counting on other people. You wouldn't count on other people anyway. You're like you like strategy. It shows like you like to think things through. Yeah, Saturn has an impact on your mindset because it's opposing your moon. So it's saying responsibility with your finances. I just feel like you're a very responsible person just in general. I see you owning property as well. I see you owning property. You could work in real estate if you wanted.
That, I just want to note on that property part. It's crazy because, right now I'm just like, all right, we'll see how it happens because I it hasn't happened. But check out my other reading where it mentioned about property or real estate, you know, my Chinese face reading where it said like it would suit me well, and we'll see. Because right now I am not owning any real estate yet.
Too. Cool. What would you like to ask me about your chart?
How about in terms of the Venus sign?
Venus is in the 12th house. They call the 12th house bed pleasures. Now this can be anything that's pleasurable having to do with the bed. It could be sex, but it's also sleep, right? So it's like you work hard, play hard. Work hard, be lazy. There's a bunch of that.
Yes, I absolutely love sleep. I can sleep. I think like so I'm still in like a teenager's body in that sense. Not metabolism wise, but definitely like, you know, on weekends you're not supposed to sleep in because it ruins your circadian rhythm. But nah, I'll sleep until like 11, noon, whatever my body allows me to do. Most of the time I'm woken up by even through earplugs, like something outside, because during the day people make noise. So, but everything also in the beginning, I definitely was just like in my session with her, I was like, wow, this is quite me. This is quite spot on. So yeah, it really describes me really well.
So it also talks about vacations too. You're like, I earned my vacation time. Venus is about finances and comforts of life, what the money can buy. It's money, it's women, it's love as well, the things that you love to do. You could travel, it says overseas as well. It says travel overseas for pleasure. So that could be like you worked hard, you earned your vacation, or actually for you, it almost feels like you've earned your air miles. You're like, I've stacked up my air miles, because you're big on strategy and efficiency and getting the most out of what you can do. Like this, that's great. You don't waste money. You don't waste it. You save it. But you know, one of the things that I see here with relationships in the Venus energy, it shows like your biggest partner is like the people that you work with, like your teammates. So your partner your romantic partner may be somebody that actually helps you in your career. So it's like you could work together. Yeah. You don't have to meet them at work, but you could work with your partner. It's like you come up with a business together is what it shows.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. Either way, I think like the romantic energy that I'm also seeing, the 5th house of creation. So Venus is in the 12th house, but she rules the 5th house of children, entertainment, play, recreation. So again, it's that work hard, play hard kind of energy. Efficiency. So you can be lazy. It's like I work and I strategize so that I could have, you do it for your downtime is what it says. So Venus rules the 5th house of entertainment and the 10th house of work. It's like work entertainment, making things more pleasurable, more easy for other people. But as far as like a partner, it's Cancer energy. So it's ruled by the moon in the 6th house of work. So I guess, again, you could work with your partner. I also see you owning real estate. I keep saying that because Mars is the karaka of land and it's in the 4th house of property.
Awesome. Anything I should weaknesses I should be working on, or like kind of like some, I'm going to say red flags, maybe pink flags, or watch out.
Don't let people talk you into bad investments.
Okay.
Yeah. As far as like sharing finances, you would experience losses with that. So if someone convinces you to invest in their team or invest in their project, don't do it.
Awesome. Okay.
I wouldn't do it. That's a pink flag because it says losses through shared investments in your chart. K2 is sitting in the 8th house of other people's money. So again, your inheritance is what you put aside. It's what you invest on your own, through your own 401k, through your own IRA, whatever that is. But you're not doing, I wouldn't do the stock market. I wouldn't do things that take a lot of risk.
Speaking of stock market, it was years ago that I had someone, family member, but it was just like, you should do stock and all that kind of stuff. And, like they got so much money off of it. And oh my goodness, I lost money and I thought to myself, never again will I play stocks like on my own, where you like buy and sell and all that kind of stuff.
Risk leads to loss. Relying on other people would be a loss for you because they would gain and you wouldn't. That's what I'm seeing as a red flag in chart, especially with Venus in the 12th house. Okay. So you have to be responsible with your money. Responsible, it's not just money, but resources, your time, what you value. It's like, don't let people suck you dry. It really has to be fair. When you come up with a goal with someone, it really has to be fair. And you have to be very careful with contracts. So it's like, have everything very clear and delineated. So I wouldn't marry a lawyer. Yeah, unless you are the lawyer. But anyway, I see extremes in how you earn money in the future. I do see that real estate. Let's see what other flags. I don't know. Do you want children?
I don't want kids.
Okay, yeah.
So that kind of...
Okay, no worries. Jupiter is still. It's not moving forwards or backwards. So there's not a lot happening with that planet. Mm-hmm. When a planet moves forward, it shows activity. When it moves backwards, it shows extreme activity. Yeah. And it's crystallized. Nothing's happening there.
Okay.
It's in the 5th house of children, and Jupiter is the karaka for children and like future generations, etc. So I usually ask people if they want children or not before I just tell them what I see in their chart, because it's like a sensitive topic. Yeah. I think we didn't really, that was the one area I think to be covered yet. Yeah. As far as your friends, it shows like long-term friends. You know, the thing is with you, it's like the tried and true. So with it shows like long-term friends, people you can really trust. Right. I don't feel like you just let anybody in. You really, there's like a vetting process.
I have a high standard for friends.
Over time. It shows long period of time, tried and true, the trusted. You're not like you could be a social butterfly, but I think you're more of a serious person. Mm-hmm. The Mercury, the moon in a Mercury sign makes it, you could talk to anybody. Mm-hmm. You really could.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you know what people want to hear. Because the moon is the mind. It's sort of like knowing instinctively. You have an instinct of like, you could convince someone to invest in your stuff versus the other way around. So, yeah, just make sure to remember that you are a very powerful person with the sun in the 1st house, and strategy and making sure that it goes your way, that people follow your way, because you are the leader. Even though it's balanced, it shows like you're fair. But in order for it to be fair, you have to be the one who's sort of making sure that everything stays in place. Mm-hmm. So if you give your power to someone else to make sure it stays in place, it will fall apart. Awesome. You're like, you're the CEO of your...
So,
yeah.
Thank you.
That is so... I feel like that's so true. And also the thing about friends, yes, I have really solid friends. Small crew, but still quite actually a good handful of them. Because earlier on when she talked about travel, I was like, yeah, I actually have traveled around the world quite a bit. And I've had friends all over the world. And, most of them are in the States, but they are the tried and true friends where really solid. They're just great. They're like the people you can call when you need, not that I would probably end up in jail, but someone to bail me out in the middle of the night. They're the ones that are just responsible. Like they're the ones you can count your life on. And you can also, if you gave them your kid, they could take care of them, protect them, and whatnot. So I am very grateful for my friends. They are really great people, and I feel really blessed to have them. So yeah, I just had a gush about my friends right there.
Mm-hmm. It's great.
Okay, so this audio now is when I came back and was like, hey, I just want to I want to have another 10-minute session with you. And we got more in depth into it. And yeah, let's continue.
I want to show you something before you ask a question. You can ask, but let me... Mm-hmm. So this is the circular chart that we use. This is a Western style chart, even though it's sidereal coordinates. Okay. So actually, by the way, this is your tropical chart. I'm sure you might be familiar with this. Your Aquarius Ascendant, Sun in Capricorn, Moon in Cancer. Mm-hmm. Okay, that's fine.
But for that, the Western one, does it talk more about different things, whereas the Vedic one talks about a different aspect of it?
Yeah, it's definitely a Vedic approach. There's different ways of interpreting the chart. So, for example, I think what's really important is like the mythologies around Rahu Ketu, which those create inconsistencies, and they're malefics. So I think Western astrology doesn't really look at that. Also, we don't do outer planets. There's no Uranus, Neptune, Pluto. I'm actually certified in Western tropical astrology, but I ended up moving to sidereal Vedic because it just fit. It made more. It was more accurate, basically. One of the things I wanted to show you was the style chart, the South Indian chart with. Let's here, look at here, South Indian chart. Okay, so this is actually a traditional chart. It's not a wheel. So here's the ascendant where the line is going through. See the sun, so AS stands for ascendant. The sun and Mercury are still in the first house. First house, second house, third house, fourth house in Aries. So it shows you, this is like a South Indian style chart. One of the cool things about prediction with Vedic astrology is we use the dasha system. Now dasha just means time. Actually kala means time, but dasha means like the segmented time. Now, this is a planetary timetable that shows you what planets are currently active, and we look to transits to active planets for events. Okay, so let's see. You're at the end of your Jupiter period. Wow, you're going to be entering Saturn soon. This is a long period that you've been in with Jupiter. So here's Jupiter all the way down the left-hand side. So see all these symbols that repeat?
So is that since 2005?
Yes. January 14th, 2005, you've been in a Mahadasha, which means the main dasha of Jupiter. The Antardasha, or also known as the Bhukti, is the subdasha. So I look at this as like the bookshelf of your life, and here is the book that you're currently in, and here are the chapters.
Okay,
of the story. So you can live many lives in one life, where you like. Yeah, so it shows like big themes and then broken down. So Jupiter, you've been in since 2005, and then you'll enter Saturn in 2021, January 14, 2021. Now, Saturn is a difficult energy. It goes into the 12th house. This may be more spiritual time for you.
Yeah.
Where you're actually eliminating things that really aren't that important. Yeah. So it's kind of a no BS sort of energy, but it's with Venus. So again, it talks about like vacations, pilgrimages, travels, luxuries. Actually, it improves your finances because it's with Venus. Excuse me. And Saturn rules your second house of earned income, right? Saturn rules Aquarius, your first house, and second house, Capricorn, first house, and Aquarius, second house of earned income. Saturn rules these two houses. So when Saturn is active, so are the houses. Okay, Jupiter is currently active in the 5th house of learning. So it's been a time for you to learn about what you enjoy, learn about, what you believe in, all of these. You've been shaping a lot of your beliefs since 2005. And it feels like you have gone through this whole like self-discovery journey process of like learning what do I believe in and what is my true purpose? What is my path? Like you've been figuring that out. I think you pretty much know it by now, and it shows now is when the work comes in to really solidify that path, to actually walk the talk. Right, so you've been in a period of discovery, but where you may have found some good teachers as well, not even just in school, but in general, like life teachers. Now, one of the things with Jupiter, it rules the house that Saturn is in. So when you enter your Saturn period, it's going to be a smooth transition of this sort of Jupiter-Saturn energy, because Saturn rules the house that it's sitting in. So it's still. Saturn is active, but it's still running a Jupiter energy in the background. Okay. So it's like a new guest. It's saying like you're still in the same house, but you have a new house guest. So like new tenants have moved in. Okay. Right? So anyway, okay, so you're in this period right now, August 21st, 2018, you're in Jupiter Rahu. Now, this brings, it can bring up problems or waves, it's just whatever wave that may be, inconsistencies or extremes in the family, right? Because it shows like your possessions, the house of income, but it's your security. So there's been some, I would say, since 2018, there's been some upheavals. when it comes to family members, close family members, even the place that you live at. It's like your home, where home is where the heart is, right? So that's the second house. And it causes unpredictability. Because things that are unpredictable, right, can be a little bit of chaos thrown in there. It keeps things interesting, I suppose. So you're running that energy from now until 2021. And then things start to sort of settle down. But it can be a little bit of erratic sort of energy around the home, around the family, unpredictability. Now let's go ahead and look at the
So with that, actually, it's weird listening in on astrology because it's been a while. It's been, this is 2 years ago that I got this reading. So that period between August 2018 till January 2021 is like she said, fluctuating up and down. And I'm not sure how, obviously it's an interpretation. So like with family, most of my family, well, at least like my direct family is, back home on the East Coast. So with some of them I'm not really close to anyway, so I wonder if that was how to do with it. But also at the same time, I think the up and down, like they said, the home life, I don't know, I live by myself, so I'm just interpreting it really maybe because I was in a toxic workplace that maybe that affected my home life. That's how I think that could connect the lines. But yeah, so that one was like and then finally in like I think the end of end of period of till January 2021. So the end of 2020, well 2020 we know how that all turned out, but there was a lot of like, I think at the end of 2020 was when there was a lot of family upheaval for me back home when I visited. So I guess it's like for periods like this where it's like 2018 to 2021, don't always think like it's gonna be the whole entire period that's shaky. It's gonna be like, well, like she said, up and down. It's probably good and bad and things like that. So
transits October 19th. So we're gonna look at transits to Rahu. Let's see, where is your Rahu? Okay, here it is. It's right here. Nothing really yet. Okay. You just had like this whole different way of thinking about what your purpose is, what your job is recently, because you have Rahu, which causes change in general. It's creeping up on your moon. Actually, the nodes move backwards and all the other planets move forwards. They're like sort of the rebels. So it causes a shift in what you do on your daily basis. By the way, routines would be very hard for you to maintain right now. I feel like it's important for you to get regular sleep, eat regularly, just sort of the daily habits. It causes like a rift in the daily habits, daily routines, changing things around with that. Also, how's your sleep been?
I'm a night owl.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, okay. But obviously I have to wake up early for work.
Yeah.
But,
right. So that causes a problem with your health. It can cause health problems when you don't get adequate sleep. Mm-hmm. You need to change the pattern. So I know being a night owl is good, but if you have an early, so it's either change your job or change the sleep.
Yeah. You
got to do something because it's actually affecting your health. Okay. Yeah. Because moon is peace of mind, and it's also can be sleep. It's the subconscious mind. K2 is going through your 12th house of sleep, saying loss of sleep, or just not good quality sleep. Mm-hmm. So even if it's inconsistent or short, not enough is what it's saying. You're not getting enough sleep for your body to repair itself. So it's causing problems now that you may not be seeing yet, but it could manifest if you don't change that. So it's very important for you to focus on like a regular routine schedule for your health, including sleep and diet. Okay. You just went through your Saturn return. You know of this? Have you heard of the Saturn return? Mm-hmm. Okay. So here's the chart on the inside. Here's Capricorn Ascendant. So here, this look familiar. We looked at this before. So here's the Saturn, Sun, Mercury in Capricorn. You have Rahu in the second house, Mars in the fourth, Jupiter in the fifth. Okay. So Saturn is in the 12th house. Okay, when we animate this, we can do let's do by week. Let's move it backwards. Let's see, you actually had your...
So when you hear her say, when we animate this, what happens is that on her computer, she has this software where you can, for example, you see the chart right there, and she can fast forward in the time. So let's say like next year, whatever, then you can watch the lines and all the planets and all those symbols. Not sure what you call them, but they start to rotate. So it's kind of cool when she's like fast forwarding time or like going back in time.
Saturn. What's retrograde? You already went through your Saturn return. It looks like around early 2018 or late 2018. Saturn was at 14 degrees. This is big changes in your career, big changes in your purpose. Saturn is like big, it's just these big changes to your identity as well, where you're like, you really discovered something very important and you became more serious. Like this is like your brain sort of switching and going, this is my true purpose. This is what I was created to do or be, or this is my path. So something around the end of 2018 sort of solidified the next 30-year pattern that you'll be doing.
Awesome. Yeah.
It talks about new responsibilities, basically.
Yeah.
Do you know what that might have been?
Oh, I was in a shit job.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you changed careers.
Yeah, or I just thought of like it's not worth it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So long term is what you're thinking with Saturn. Mm-hmm. It's the slowest moving planet. It's the outermost planet. So it causes long term change. It's gradual change, but it's for the long term. So it's not a fast moving thing. It's sort of it returns every 30 years. So it's a big deal. It's almost like real adulthood. You know, people are like, I'm an adult at 18. No, you're not an adult at 18. You're still a teenager. You're still a kid. When you're 30, 28 to 31, that's really the age of like, I'm responsible now.
Yeah.
I'm not out like, woo, shot. No, we're like very Saturn. It's very like, you realize there's consequences to things. Mm-hmm. You can't do things that you used to. You have to be more responsible. So that's what you sort of went through. Everyone goes through that at that stage, but that's the time frame. So now that was a big shift for you. The way you make your money too, because it's with your money planet. Okay, so where are we now? We're at October. October 19th. But how happy are you in your job right now, though? Are you super happy? Are you thinking about...
It was like, so I work at Disney. And so I was under like a terrible abusive person and then I switched last, like almost like around August last year to another department, finance, and it's just more stable, but the job's not satisfying, obviously, but it's for now. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But the previous job, the one that was bad.
It's temporary.
Yeah, because the previous job was the one where it made me, kind of clicks in the brain, and you're just like, this is not worth it.
So K2 is the planet of loss and detachment, and it's on your planet of career, basically. It's a temporary thing you're obviously not going to be... When this planet hits your Saturn, it shows like something new coming in. It shows like the temporary thing is kind of over.
Do you know when?
Yep.
I was like, I like knowing time frames and projections.
Yes. And I use the cards to confirm what I'm seeing here. Mm-hmm. But it looks like according to the planets here, so you have your Saturn return and your Venus return, so it's a reset button when it comes to your career and the money. Disney, by the way, is Venus. It's very like fairy tale, like very Disney princess sort of princess energy. Venus is like the goddess of beauty and harmony and fantasy, right? It's so funny. It's in the 12th house of fantasies. By the way, you have a Saturn return, Venus return, so it talks about reset button. When K2 hits the Saturn, it says loss of job, or just, we have something else lined up, but it says like, we're done with that. So it's at 15 degrees, it's moving backwards. We want to hit it at 14.02 degrees. And this is an approximation. I'm seeing the end of the year. A few days.
Oh, that's it.
Okay. There we go. Right around here, January, end of the year, like
Wow.
Yeah, new year, new you. By the way,
Yay.
When K2, yes, yay. When K2 hits your Saturn, Venus is going to be right on your ascendant at 22 degrees. That's very significant for new income. So I see you buying like a new outfit because, okay, Venus is beauty, it's fashion. First house is the body, right? New clothing comes in. What would you need new clothing for? Interviews.
Okay, so it's crazy because you just saw me kind of churn my thoughts and think about this. And so I got this reading in 2019, January, something like that. And so I think this reading was maybe, my second reading was maybe later that year, like October, something like that. So it would have said like, when she said January, it looks like we're done with it. It looks like maybe a loss of a job. You know, you're interpreting the chart here. And nothing really happened during that time. I was trying to think of maybe it's just the energy coming through. And but yeah, January 2020, I was still at my same job, and I was still applying to jobs at that time. But yeah, I was thinking like, was I going through interviews and whatnot? But that didn't happen. But maybe it's just I don't know about that. However, 1 year later, I am no longer at that job. So January 2021, I am no longer at that job. So I don't know if it's either the timing is off or like it's not like she's predicting like a psychic would. It's just more of like the interpretation of the chart that you see right now. So anyway, it's just a side note.
Right? Presenting yourself. This is very good as far as people seeing you. People like Venus. She's very charming. So Venus is on your ascendant. It's like you can charm the pants off anybody. So it's like, it would be great for job interviews around the very beginning of the year. Saying like, it makes sense to me because people are going back to work and they're, it's the end of break. It's end of the year break and all of that. It's like they're starting new. So for you, I see new job. Right around January. Now,
do you know what? Does it tell like what realm it's kind of in?
I can look. I want to confirm with the cards that I'm seeing when the new job is coming in. December, January, February. This could be off, but it's
I just wonder what like industry it's going to be as well.
So you hear the noise right now? She's actually shuffling. There you go. Yeah, shuffling tarot cards. She's a tarot reader as well. And so sometimes she'll use that to kind of clarify or confirm or I guess you say clarify a question.
Okay, so Venus is, let's talk about Venus. You're going to be entering your Saturn period. So Saturn is more about like long-term things, but Venus is there with it. So it's like beauty. So the beauty industry, it's in the 12th house of big bodies of water. So overseas, import, export, that sort of thing. It could be female retreats. It could be women's retreats. It could be anything to do with Venus, which is beauty, women, the arts, basically. And the 12th house is spirituality, overseas things, pilgrimages, fantasy. It can be that, but I think it's a higher vibration of like more an adult responsibility instead of Disney. Seems very young Venus. I think you're looking for a more mature Venus with this next Saturn return. So it could be in the beauty industry.
Okay.
Yeah.
I haven't looked yet, so I don't know what's out there. So.
Yes, beauty industry. By the way, we live in the world of make-believe here in LA because everyone's an actor and actress, right? There's so much demand for hair, makeup, lighting, all of that stuff where to make the person look good. So because you're like sort of behind the scenes type thing. So you're building your business, but it's like you're like the backstage. You're running the art department. You're running the whole show. You're making the stage happen. The show wouldn't happen without you. You're the backbone for that. However you want to use that energy, because the 12th house is hidden. It's not really seen. It's like the Wizard of Oz behind the veil. But anyway, let's see. December, January, February. When is the new job coming in? I feel like it's January, but let's look. New job, new career. December. You're leaving in December. Is it the very end of December or January? This job loss. This is like moving on. Oh no. Oh boy. I think you're leaving in December. Do you have something backed up? I don't know. It talks about...
I haven't applied yet.
Okay, well, I would get on that now because you
So yeah, I was still at the same job since then. I started applying after that reading, but yeah, just didn't get any callbacks.
can change this energy. It shows you're leaving in December. I don't know if you have something else lined up or not. It might take 2 months before you get a new job. Look, it shows the two. So you're looking at this spilled cups. This is the 3 months, October, November, December. That's the 3 months that have gone by. You're looking at the past, the 2 months ahead of you, right? This is like still nothing. Light at the end of the tunnel though, and then you have the 2. So you have 2. It's 2 months following the new job. It says a new place where you're like, yay! And then it shows like you're jumping in and you're like the leader, and it shows you're super motivated and you're the boss of starting something. So it looks like 2 months after you end up leaving this place, you end up finding something. Unless you start now, you can change that energy though.
Yeah.
It's not, it doesn't have to be written that way. This is just kind of a glimpse, but you will be leaving at the end of December.
Cool.
Okay. And then the industry, I don't know exactly. What do you want to do?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
I did get like a kind of like a reading from a friend.
Okay.
And she was saying, oh, like female travel gear, travel tech, kind of like mentioned what you said. And I was like, okay, because she asked her spirit guides, and I was like, you don't know what to be looking at. And they're like, oh, don't forget about this.
Yeah.
Because I used to travel a lot.
Yeah. Venus energy, 100%. Yeah. Travel, overseas stuff, beauty, whatever that is. It could be exporting, importing hair. It could be anything like that. Makeup, anything that has to do with women, fashion, even.
Yeah.
Clothes.
So like the other chart where it says like, these are like the books of my life.
Yes.
So what's in the next book?
Okay, Saturn.
And I also have like a side business, so I'm wondering I
think you're going to be developing that more in 2021, January. You have about a year gap between you really start working on your own. Because Saturn is kind of a loner energy. So this would be your own business. You're starting from the ground up. You can start before 2021, but I think this is more like, it would be like the planning stages.
Yeah.
I do see that you really start laying the foundation for building the house, and that's a long-term thing. So you could have your own business. Do you remember before I said you have your own agenda and people can sign on and they can help you, but you're not really supposed to work for other people? It's like you are kind of, you're more independent.
Yeah.
You really know what's fair and you know the value of things again. So you have a business savvy, you sort of have this built-in sensor of like buy, sell, trade, what's fair, the marketplace, what's going on in the market. You have like an eye for that. So when people come on, they will help you, but they're helping you build from the ground up. So this is your efforts alone.
So with the one that's not this one, but the one that's September 20,
yes,
I guess 24 or also 2026. What is that?
This can be losses through help of other people. Okay. So K2 is in your 8th house of other people's income. So it could be just no help. It could be losses, but then it's followed by gains. It's purification. It's a period of purification. So people that were working for you, it's like, guess what? If they're not actually helping you, there's the door. And if you're not kicking them out, the spirit will. And it's showing like if you're investing your time and money and energy in the wrong area, it's like nothing will stick.
Got it.
And you're like, why isn't anything working? It's because you're supposed to purify that. So it's like you get down to, again, what's really important. You might be sort of running like brass tacks here. September 2026 to November 2027. But this is a period of money and gains. It's going to be very highlighted. So it's almost a period of like, kind of like, what I see is like you have the team, you sort of built the job, and then you've got this like whiteboard, and you're like, you've been scribbling all of these ideas with Mercury, because Mercury is very talkative. So it's like you're figuring out a lot about what you're really good at and what you've succeeded. It's a time of success because it's with the sun. The sun shines. So it's like, hey, good period of success. You're like, yeah, I like this flow of energy. I'm getting some good ideas. Things are moving. And then all of a sudden, it's like someone comes by, or maybe you are, and you're like erasing all of that.
Yeah.
For like, you're like, start over. And then that's when the money comes in for you in the next period.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're on time, I think.
Yeah. So,
That's awesome.
yes. So I'd see you like your own business really taking off 2021. But you could start before that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's good because I got a numerology report and they're like, yeah, like autumn 2021. Like, it was just all said 2021 pretty much. And I figured it's just nice knowing
I
other
see
moons.
something significant coming in January of 2021.
Awesome.
That's when it starts. But you also have to look at the transit. So it starts in January, but we don't know if an event actually hits it then. But yeah.
Cool.
You've got some really good stuff going on. A lot of changes in your career. I see there may be another temporary job coming in for you through 2020. But it's allowing you the space to build, because you are going to be building your own empire, your own industry, your own business.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Yay. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Cool.
Okay, this next audio is a 30-minute follow-up session where I booked privately with her to kind of get more in-depth about my chart.
Yeah. In terms of luck, you know how some people might, like, in their chart, they might tend to have luck where, like, if they do the lottery or scratch off tickets, they'll win, or just luck tends to come their way.
You have that.
A lot, average amount. Like, if I play the lotto,
You could get lucky like once, but it would be big. I don't see it would be like a continual thing. The reason I say that is because the house of speculative gains and gambling is the 5th house. You have like, okay, so here's Taurus here, which is ruled by Venus. Venus is money. But again, it's putting rules on the way you earn your money. Now, Jupiter is station, so it's very still. If it was moving forward, I actually think it's about to go retrograde in your chart. Let's see. Let's move it a day forward. Oh, yeah, it's actually going direct. That's interesting. Actually, Jupiter is very close. So a day before you were born, it was retrograde, meaning it appears to move backwards or closer. So it's brighter, it's bigger in the sky. It has more of a louder sort of presence. So Jupiter is about luck. Jupiter is definitely lucky. Sagittarius is a very lucky sign. Your friend is a very lucky person. She can turn, poop into roses. Like she definitely has a way about that. That's totally Jupiter. Pisces and Sagittarius are the two luckiest signs. You happen to have Venus there, but if Saturn wasn't there looking at it or like sort of monitoring, so that's the bodyguard for Venus. So he's like making sure nothing happens to Venus that's out of the ordinary. So if you're talking about like huge speculative gains, plus Jupiter is station in the 5th house of gambling. So it just looks like not a lot of activity. It's kind of still.
Yeah.
It's quiet, it's still. So you could get lucky, but it would just be like a fluke almost in like once. It doesn't feel like you'd have like a lucky streak or things like that just in general. I guess that's how I would interpret that.
Okay.
Yeah.
In terms of relationship, when is that, I guess, if that's coming up in the near future or next couple of years?
Okay, because I actually thought you were married. Are you not? You're not married?
No.
Yeah. Okay. So your partner is, like, it shows Cancer here. You would meet this person at work. Or through service. Your
Like
partner,
a mutual activity or something like that.
yeah. Well, the 6th house is house of service and like your day job and just daily routine. So you can meet them at the gym. You can meet them at like if you're in like it shows like things that you would do just on a day, like on a walk or something like that. If you just did something regularly routine, like on your way to the grocery store, something like that. And I also feel like you could, your partner would be very service oriented, may have a service job. So like the service job could be anything like working for the government or just like a regular Joe sort of energy. Like this person knows the value of hard work and likes to be of service. Okay. So it could be anything. It could be policemen. It could be anything like that that has to do with like serving and protecting or whatever that is. The protect maybe, but service for sure. Service jobs, government service, just retail service, anything that's just like a normal. I see like a very like typical normal person who's like well adjusted and is also like family is very important to him since it's Cancer. He's traditional. This person is like very traditional, the type of partner you'll have. Let's look at the, so let's look at when. Let's see, pages. Like he's obviously going to want children. With Cancer there. Okay.
It's funny because I was like, I don't want kids.
You said that?
Yeah.
Oh.
So, that'll be a chat.
Maybe he'll come with them. Okay, so we're looking for Moon. Venus is co-ruler as well, since it's that, let's see, in Jupiter. So 3, let's see. Well, Venus is relationships. And it's with Saturn, so Saturn influences it. So if you didn't see someone from 2016 to 2017, I would say when your Saturn period starts.
And is that the January 2020? When my Saturn period starts?
Yeah, January 2021.
Oh, okay.
Let me actually ask the cards, please, because I'm not really getting a very anything that stands out to me is like, oh, this is meant to be. Doesn't mean you can't meet somebody. Well, also Mercury aspects the 7th house. So if I'm not seeing the planetary ruler being active, so there's nothing in your 7th house, so that we can rule that out. Then secondly, we look at the planetary ruler, which is the moon. I'm not seeing any moon dashas coming up. So I'm not seeing any results there. So then we look at either the Sun or Mercury, which both aspect the 7th house. So Mercury would be 2024, but that's just so far that I doubt you're going to have to wait that long. Let's see. When we end up meeting someone this year, 2019. It might take a minute. It might be a while. 2020, I think that you've just got so much else going on. It's like you're super busy. You're just doing all the things. I don't think you have a lot of spare time to be dating. The Tower card looks like if you did end up meeting someone in 2020, I see like you're breaking up. Like
it's funny because like this was before 2020, so just looking back now, you're like, wow, I did not expect the pandemic to happen in 2020. So just a random comment by me.
It doesn't feel like it would be like your forever person. I do see like either a bit of loneliness or 2, it could be a soulmate that comes in for you. I don't think you necessarily need to be with your soulmate because it looks like they're teaching you like life lessons. This actually is the arrows of love. So it actually looks good here. 2023. That's a long time to wait for a relationship. You're going to get married, though. It shows, I think you'll meet this person 2023 and get married in 2025.
Okay.
That sounds like a long time.
Time flies, I feel like.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think you're doing other things. It shows you've got other things that you're planning to do.
My empire.
Basically. Because I'm not seeing like a fated thing for you anytime soon, but it doesn't mean that you can't just meet people that you're interested in and date and have short-term relationships if you just want to, meet people and date for a while.
Yeah.
I don't see anything lasting over 6 months. You will get married. There he is. It might be a while. This is the card of solitude and being single. So, it shows that you're open to possibilities, and I think there's people that you like that you end up meeting, but they end up disappointing you.
Yeah.
And there could be like 3 people that you meet, and you're like, oh, this could be it, and you're like, no. But then, like I said, you will end up getting married because there's the husband and the father.
Yeah.
Yeah. It says you have to wait a while. It says patience. Okay.
Oh, that's fine. I don't want kids, so.
Okay.
I'm not in a rush or anything
right.
like that.
Yeah. Patience, I think, pays off because you're going to get exactly what you need when they're ready and you're ready to meet them. So that's what I wasn't seeing anything immediately in your chart, and the cards are kind of showing you might be single for a minute.
I just want to say this, guys. Don't settle. Don't ever settle. And I mean that in like don't lower your expectations to lower your standards, I guess. I've seen like way too many people settle, and I'm like, I don't mind waiting for a relationship that works.
Are there any future travels coming up in the next couple of years?
Yes, actually. Now is a really good time for you to travel. Your Jupiter rules the 12th house for you. Older women would be, it doesn't have to be grandmother age, but it could be older women is who you would meet on your travels that would end up helping you in your business. Older women, mature women, established women. So what I see, it's 2018, 2021. Actually, now is the time to travel.
Okay.
Let's see. Past Mercury. 2024 to 2026. I see a trip coming.
Can you tell if it's like one big trip or more like a series of
it might be a series of short trips. Okay. That would be a period of travel for you. And Mercury. So it talks about foreign lands, foreign cultures. There's actually 2 houses that indicate travel.
Okay.
Pilgrimages is the 12th house. It's overseas. Other cultures, foreign lands, whether it's over water or not, is the 9th house. So we look at Mercury, which rules Virgo, and we look at Jupiter, which rules the 12th house. So Mercury rules this house of exploration, which usually brings about travel. Other cultures, which usually brings about travel. But it's travel for a purpose. So it wouldn't just be to go to ashrams. It would be to go more like sightseeing or things to do with commerce, buy, sell, trade, because it's Mercury. So I see that from 2024 to 2026. January 18, 2024 to September 27, 2026, I see a lot of travel for you because Saturn and Mercury are active. Saturn is in the 12th house of overseas, and Mercury rules the 9th house of foreigners, foreign lands.
Yay.
So 100%, I see that happening.
Awesome.
And I think that's when I see a partnership likely to come in for you.
Okay.
It talks about a significant relationship because you have Mercury aspect in the 7th house, and we were looking at Mercury. Mercury is actually a really good planet for you. Mercury rules the 6th house of healing. It rules the 9th house of foreign lands, foreign culture, higher education, and foreigners in general. And it aspects your 7th house of partners. You might end up marrying a partner that is of a different background or a different descent.
Like ethnicity.
It's possible.
Yeah. And then is the States or is LA or California like a good place for my soul or where it should be versus
That's funny because I was just talking to my friend about astrocartography, which does the ley lines of the planets on the map to show where it would be a good place for you. that takes a minute to actually do that, and I don't have it on this software.
Okay.
So I'm going to use the cards again.
Yeah. I
know you wanted an astrology reading, but I feel like the cards also help with that. Get more answers. Let's see. Okay. You want to know if LA is...
Or like what places in the U.S. in general.
Okay.
I did move from... I grew up in Virginia. Didn't vibe well.
Yeah, it shows...
happy cards.
Mm-hmm. Definitely happy cards.
Wow.
It shows you like the lone wolf in your tribe, though. So it shows like, it shows like everyone is here. You've joined the party is what it says, but you're kind of the loner in the party. So like you showed up to the party alone and you're like, you talk to people, but you're not, I think at some point you will move. This is timing. There's going to be a contract that takes you somewhere. We don't know where. It says we don't know where. I feel like it's north, though. Yeah, it says you're taking flight. So you will end up leaving. I see about 4 years.
Wow.
Let's see. So if it's 2018, 4 years, it'll be 2024. Yeah, that's when you start traveling. 2024, January 2024, 4 years.
Wow.
4 years.
Wow. Okay.
So not only are you going to be traveling a lot, but you're just going to be on the go, and I feel like that's going to take you somewhere else that will end up moving you to that new place.
Yeah.
Maybe it's in the States, maybe it's not.
Okay.
Because there's a contract that's taking you out of here, is what it shows, in 4 years.
Wow. I wonder if that has to do with my side business and connecting with it.
Mm-hmm. Probably.
And then,
family of healers, it's your soul tribe.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Cool. And then the next, I was wondering what the next chapter of my book starting.
Okay, yes.
I don't know what that sign is, but this.
Oh,
this,
2040?
This book.
Oh.
Yeah, I know I'm going really far,
That's
but I
super
figured
far.
this one was like building my empire
20
book.
years from now.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, 100%.
And
building your business, building your empire. Yes.
Yeah. And then I wonder what the next book. It's a bit shorter actually than.
It is. That one is about 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
Is it? Yeah, 17 years. 2040 to 2057. No, the Mercury is a good planet, so that would be like your golden years, I guess. And again, it's a good planet for you. So it talks about personal power, but it's less of like the hard work and more like fun, and it rules the 6th house of service, so you'll have enough resources to give back to other people.
Oh, okay.
And it also looks like 9th house of studies. You're going to want to study. It shows you're going to want to learn.
Yeah.
It shows you're like, I want to learn stuff. Now that I'm like settled, like I think you have like this curiosity that ends up sort of kicking in, and it looks like it has a lot to do with like writing, speech, communications, language, other cultures, language, the way that they do things, because it rules the 9th house of foreign land. So I think there's just like this sense of like curiosity just ends up, you're like, I just want to explore outside of the box that I've created. So you end up, it's definitely a more social sign, but that one, it's really good for you to enjoy your life. That whole period is like, I'm enjoying being here. I'm discovering so much. It's a period of self-discovery that doesn't bring a lot of pain and suffering with it.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah.
I guess the next thing, it'd be like, because you were able to see my friend's sibling, and I was wondering if you were able to see anything with my sibling here.
Jupiter rules the 3rd house. Okay. Is it a male? Brother?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, older brother.
Mm-hmm. So Jupiter is older male. Okay. Jupiter rules the 3rd house. There's no planet here in the 3rd. It's Pisces. But Jupiter is like a sage. It's a teacher. It's a guru. It's like older, wiser. sort of thing. But it's also Pisces energy, which Pisces is not really like, it's a little, they're kind of more like relaxed and sort of, that would be more of the lucky person. If you're kind of thinking like, wow, that person's so
things
fortunate,
fall together for them.
And you're like, and you didn't even have to work for it. You didn't even have to try.
Yeah.
You're like, how do you skate through life like that without being so, with just sort of, not disorganized, but just sort of like, things just happen to fall into place. Your elder brother has had a lot of life experiences, a lot of lives experience. So he's an old soul is what it shows. Like he's built up a lot of like karma on his credit card, and now he can just buy whatever he wants. So that's why it's not fair, because he's done all of these. He's lived a lot. He's like, he's stacked up a lot of experiences that he sort of gets to cash in. So when you look at life as being like from birth to death, you have Aries, which is the first house of like the child. Then you have the toddler. Then you have the teenager. Then you go to adulthood, and then you're working your way through old age. Old age and retirement. They don't have a lot of cares and concerns. You know, they're playing shuffleboard, and they're just like sitting back by the pool, and they've got their retirement home, and they're comfortable, and they're taken care of. He's kind of earned this karmic right to kind of kick back, because he's done the whole wheel. He's had all the life experiences to be able to. So that's kind of what I'm seeing, is like the older, wiser person. And I mean, wisdom comes with age, but I do see, I think he'll live beyond, what I'm seeing here is that he'll live beyond the normal male lifespan. I don't know what age that would be, but Jupiter is in Taurus, and it's in a fixed sign. So I'm looking at your siblings' planetary placement. In Taurus, it's fixed, so he could be a bit lazy sometimes, but he also gets a lot accomplished.
Lazy, sorry.
Yeah.
And then my last question was, because with my friend, her sole purpose was to kind of break the ancestral patterns.
Right.
So I wonder what mine shows.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So we're looking at your birth star, your birth nakshatra. Okay. I can't tell if this is Shravana or Janishta, because it's so close. It's 22 degrees, 53 minutes. It looks like it might be in Shravana.
Oh,
but let me look up the degrees. Can I just Google the degrees?
Yeah, it's really close.
Degrees. Shravana nakshatra degrees. Sorry. Yes, 10 to 23:30 in Marika. Okay, 23:30. And you're at 22:52. Yes, so you're in Shravana. Okay, these people make great counselors. They make great therapists. Shravana is symbolized by an ear. Okay? So they're the listeners, right? Now, this, in a spiritual sense, spiritual listening can be like clairaudience, where you hear things or you just sort of know things.
Yeah,
it's also like hearing what's not being said a lot of the times, has this ability to sort of to read between the lines, get what the vibe is in the silence. There is a sense of sound, though. So these people can love music, but like not just any old music. It's like real music, classical music, like instruments.
Yeah.
Like where they love the beauty and the art of something so refined.
Yeah.
Right? So it shows that you might have a musical ability. I don't know if you've nurtured that. Have you?
Yeah. In the past, I used to play, a couple instruments. Yeah.
So you still have that ability to make music.
Yeah.
It just depends on what you're focusing your life on. But these are good musicians, therapists. A lot of people come to you and they'll just tell you stuff.
Yeah.
You're like the armchair psychic, where people are just like, hey, come sit down, and they tell you things, and you're a good listener. You have good listening skills. That's actually the most important aspect of communication.
Yeah.
Is listening, right? And Mercury, the planet of communication, is in Shravana Nakshatra in your first house of Capricorn. It's within 10 to 13.3 to 23.3 degrees. 10 to 30.
Yeah, I see what you're
yes, okay. 10 to 23.3 degrees. Got it. So anyway, this planet of communication, speech is in the nakshatra of listening. So I think it's almost like you can keep an ear out for good business opportunities as well. And just kind of, it's like, you know that saying that's like the ear to the streets or something? It's like you kind of just know the beat or the tempo of like the like hand on the pulse of what's going on.
Yeah. Okay.
There's a sense of tempo and timing as well.
Okay.
Rhythm, tempo, timing. This can be very literal. It can be a more like bigger picture sort of thing of being in the right place at the right time too, in your own sense. It wouldn't be with luck. It would be with walking to your own beat of your own drum that sort of happens to put you on that path that meets the other person.
Okay.
Or whatever that may be.
Yeah.
So that's sort of your life path, is listening. It's listening to spirit. It's listening to what you're hearing around you. It's just hearing in everything. Also, music is a part of your life path.
Oh, wow.
So you can reincorporate that, and you might end up doing that more when you're in your Mercury period.
Yeah. Okay. In my golden years.
Yeah.
Cool.
When you start that later half of your life, it's 20 years from now.
Yeah.
I think that you could end up having a partner that's musical or teaches music. I don't know where that came from. I'm so sorry if that doesn't end up being true. But I get that your partner will be like a teacher or a preacher or something that's very traditional, has to do with family. But I'm getting like a musical link to your partner. So he could like play the piano or do something where you have that in the home.
Yeah.
You will have real estate though, and I mentioned that to you before.
Yeah, I've seen that.
So I almost see like a piano there, or some sort of musical instrument. Could be the bass, or it could be a cello or something. It's like some sort of classical. It's traditional classical music.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome.
That's
Thank you.
Interesting.
Yeah.
If you wanted to,
it's funny because when you told me like, oh, I'm gonna own land, I was like, oh, I'm gonna be able to afford a house here in LA.
Didn't say that.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, but then now I might be moving. So.
It might be somewhere else.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I see. If you wanted to meet a partner, the places that you could meet him are at not necessarily musicals, but places where they have classical music, like a symphony, or I don't know, because I'm getting like a music or like a live music events. Live music events, I think, is where you could meet your partner. Also see like him. I just see him as like a teacher, though. That's interesting because Mercury aspects the 7th house of partnerships, and in Cancer, which is the partnership sign, the on the descendant is Ashlesha, which he would be very intuitive. He's very intuitive, this person.
Nice.
A little bit very psychic, actually, but not necessarily realizing it. It wouldn't necessarily be his profession. Yeah. But he would have like an instinct or an intuition of just knowing that, being able to sense it. Actually, one of the so this nakshatra is ruled by Mercury. So your nakshatra Shravana is ruled by the moon. His is ruled by Mercury. The moon is actually in the sign of Gemini, ruled by Mercury. You see this Mercury-moon connection going on here with yourself and other people? That's cool. So Ashlesha is, the symbol is coiled snakes or coiled serpents, like the caduceus of healing, right? Yeah. You know, on like St. Joe's Hospital or something. Oh yeah, it's like a medical sign. Yes, that one. That's that. Yes. That's that symbol. That's the coiled serpents. Okay. So they could be in the medical profession or healing arts. It's usually more healing arts, though. Although it could be nurse. It could be nurse tradition, something like that, where it's healing. But I do get, what was the point of mentioning that? The snakes. Okay. So the snakes have, like, their tongue sort of goes out. They're blind. But they can sense. But they can sense things with the tongue. You have the ears. So it's a
So it'd be like, I'm
complementary.
more like intuitive when it comes to that. He's more intuitive than when it comes to...
Yeah, you have different ways of expressing your intuition.
Okay.
Yours is like, you can hear things. He's like, I just sense things. There's different things. There's clairsentience, clairaudience, clairvoyance, all of that. I think you're more clairaudient. And you also get messages through music, is what they're saying. So you do have a tie to spiritual connection through music, through words. So music is just, they keep highlighting that as like being really important. So if there's a song on the radio that comes on, it's like a message for you. Just notice the type of music that you listen to actually changes your vibration.
It does.
Yeah, it does in general for people, but you specifically, I think you're super sensitive to noise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay, that is the end of that session. So if you've reached this point, thank you for listening in. So as you can see, she uses like words, or I guess you can call it terminology in astrology. So sometimes it is overwhelming when you're just sitting there and you're like, I don't get what she's saying, but she does break it down. But for someone that's new first time, sometimes seeing all this and like all these charts and stuff like that, it really can be overwhelming for some people. But as you can see, it's so fascinating how again, this is Vedic astrology, so the system is different from even Western astrology. I would say it was pretty spot on with my personality, my temperament, and all that kind of stuff, and how I think. In terms of predictions, I would say it's still, again, I don't know if it has to do with the free will, but with the thing with the job, I was still in the same job. I didn't get a job opportunity or at that time in January 2020. However, a few months later, I did get furloughed. So I don't know if it's just like it's just like introducing the energy that's coming in of like a loss of job later on down the line. So that could be it. And then the other stuff for predictions, such as traveling a lot for maybe a happy healing shop and whatnot. It's just a lot of travel in 2024 to 2026. We'll have to see about that. And also relationships, that's like a couple years into the future. However, check out my playlist and other videos in the Trang Tries It series, because in the tea leaf reading, it does say that in 2021 that I'm supposed to meet someone too. So it's interesting seeing like how things might line up. You pull from different readings and whatnot. And for example, I might meet someone in 2021, but then later on, like in 2024 or 2026, in astrology, I'll be like married or something like that. So I hope you guys find that fascinating. I think the reader she is certified astrologer, and she knows both systems, and you can tell that, I've sat in readings with my friends, and it wasn't like generic readings. It wasn't like good things are coming your way. It was like when I listened to the readings, I was like, yeah, that describes you. Definitely give it a try. And she's also a psychic as well. She doesn't offer psychic services. She's a tarot reader, but you can tell when you have a session with her, she'll be like, oh, there's some parts she'll be like, they're telling me blah, blah, blah. So when you say they're telling me, it's usually like spirit or her spirit guides. And as you can tell, she sounds really confident in what she has to say. When it comes to your chart, there have been readings where I've sat in, like my friends and whatnot, and it didn't really happen in my reading, but again, this is more of like a bias that I and the Happy Healing Shop have, where you want people to come out feeling empowered. And I have sat in like one or two readings where I thought to myself like, oh, of a friend's reading, and I'm like, oh, I probably wouldn't have said that was a bit blunt. But again, or maybe, for example, like if someone told you like, oh, there's this is like during a retrograde, you don't want to have a wedding during this time or something like that, like, that is one of those things where there is a fine line of like holding back on certain things and telling things like that. So that's the only I guess like caveat or only critique I would have, but overall you can see that this person knows what they're saying and is definitely experienced. So if you're interested in supporting Sun Goddess Ashley and her business, the link down below will be provided if you want to book with her. I hope you guys found this video really useful, and seeing how an astrology reading works. I feel really fortunate to have discovered her at a psychic fair, and for the first time in my life, seeing what it's like. So I want to share that with you guys. So again, if you enjoyed this episode, click that like and subscribe button down there so you'll be notified on the next episode. And thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.